And as we see more protests planned for the weekend, our senior reporter Tony Plahetsky dug into what's legally acceptable at a protest.
With more protests planned in coming days, we thought it would be an important conversation to talk about what is acceptable and not for participation in a protest. And I want to bring in Brad Vinson. He's an Austin attorney to help us sort through what is allowed and not allowed under the laws.
Yes, Tony, of course, appreciate you having me on. The main thing that you need to realize is that speech is protected. So that's what everyone's out there to do. They're out there to give their opinion, to voice their opinion about what's going on, and speech is protected. The intersections that you're often going to see with law enforcement is when law enforcement believes that or alleges that an individual may be interfering with their ability to perform their public duty. And so really, if you're not interfering with their ability to protect others, to protect other officers, then they're really not going to have much to say as far as if you're out there just doing your thing and actively engaging and providing your opinion to the public.
Brad, what kind of behavior would rise to the level of interfering with the duties of a public servant, which, as you mentioned, is a crime in Texas?
Sure. One of the most common ones I think we might see that really gets close on the line is if someone has gotten to the point that law enforcement believes they are becoming a danger to others or themselves. So something like actually committing a criminal offense, fighting with another person, any of those things is going to get law enforcement over to probably try to effectuate an arrest. What we often also see with these sort of scenarios is someone's getting arrested and other people want to interfere with that. Again, it's all very fact intensive and it's very tense inside of a crowd like that. So it's hard to say whether or not someone is actually interfering with an arrest. But if the police believe that you are interfering with someone else's arrest, that would also be interfering with public duties.
And Brad, one last question, particularly with regard to the charge of interfering with the duties of a public servant. While many of these cases we saw from the Austin protest of May 2020 were subsequently dismissed by prosecutors, an arrest can still happen even if the charge is ultimately dropped.
Of course, that's, in the law, there are different levels of evidence, and the level of evidence required to arrest someone is probable cause. That means that an officer believes there are objective facts that indicate that a crime has occurred or is likely to occur. But getting convicted of an offense is something entirely different. That standard is beyond a reasonable doubt. It's the highest burden in the land. So arresting someone, maybe it might be the right call at the moment, but actually being convicted of that offense is something entirely different.
That's KVUE's Tony Plahetsky reporting. Now, according to APD policy, a person can legally criticize the police and record what they are doing from a safe distance. Again, the woman in that video was not arrested. We are working to learn more about that video. Police are still also reviewing use of force in that issue.